on Sunrise and streaming on crossroadstoday.com. An update on a brush fire that began in Victoria County earlier this week. And the Trump administration continues its war on drugs. Tensions with Venezuela now rising. Those details are just ahead. Plus, a major U.S. department now getting a rebrand.
And for your Football Friday, we're looking for one or maybe two more hot days down here in South Texas before a rain and a front are still in the forecast for this weekend. We'll have all that in the weather coming up.
And the Refugio Bobcats played some Thursday night football in the Corpus area versus the London Pirates. We'll give you last night's highlights and the final score later in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning, Crossroads, and welcome to your Friday Fry-yay. I'm hoping for some precipitation.
Yes, I think we all are.
This weekend to hopefully cool things off.
Yeah, it was hot yesterday.
Can we expect some fair weather for tonight's high school football games?
You know, that we can. It will be a little bit warm, mostly sunny out there as well. We're going to look at that football forecast just a little bit, I promise, because before we get to the hot afternoon we're expecting today, we've got, first of all, a pretty sunrise coming over us. Look at all the colors out there. Otherwise, we're starting out the day warm and humid like we always do. 76 degrees in Victoria, and Dew Point is 2 degrees off at 74, bringing the humidity to a high 94%. Not enough to see fog, so don't worry about that this morning. What I really need you all to, I guess, quote unquote, worry about today is going to be the heat, because there will be another scorcher out there. Before that gets here, looking at lots of us warm out there, mid, upper 70s, even some low and mid 80s being reported next to that warm Gulf water this morning on the coast. Otherwise, look at this. The rest of Texas is following suit this time. Remember earlier this week, they were in the 50s and 60s up in North Texas in the Panhandle. They are warmer in the 70s and 80s thanks to all the cloud cover we're moving over the mountains right now and into West Texas. We'll look at that later, because yesterday, I think it's safe to say it was a hot day. You can add 2 degrees to all these temperatures right here, except for the coastal ones. It was 102 Victoria, 103 Cuero, and 105 in Karnes City yesterday. Today, it's going to be a little bit cooler, luckily. So if you're sending your kiddos out the door, keep them safe with some extra water bottles. We'll have those details next.
The suspect in last weekend's Lone Tree Road shooting has been arrested. 31-year-old Charles Lee Brazil was wanted in connection to the shooting death of 23-year-old Tyler Gamez outside of a Victoria business early Saturday morning. Thursday, U.S. Marshals with the Gulf Coast Violent Offender Fugitive Task Force caught Brazil in Brownsville. Authorities credit the quick arrest to a team effort involving Victoria Police, U.S. Marshals, Houston and Brownsville Police, and intelligence from the FBI's San Antonio office. The Espiritu fire in the McFadden area off U.S. Highway 77 is now fully contained. The fire started Wednesday evening after lightning sparked 2 brush fires. Firefighters from Victoria County, Quail Creek, and the Raisin Volunteer Fire Departments, along with the Texas Forest Service and Emergency Management, worked together on the scene. The fire was stopped at 191 acres, far short of the 500 acres initially feared. No one was hurt and no buildings were damaged. A local Memorial High School graduate is moving up in the ranks in the Navy. Enlisted officer Jose Ramirez has spent 13 years serving, including time in combat, and now is being promoted to an officer role. Ramirez became a limited duty officer, providing tactical leadership and guidance to sailors under his command. He says joining the Navy has been his lifelong passion.
I'm trying to leave a legacy to my son, show him, came from immigrant parents, coming out here with not knowing how to speak English, and now becoming an officer in the United States Navy.
His advice to anyone considering the same path: finish school, get a college degree. He says it'll make the journey to officer a whole lot smoother. And just a reminder, 3 Crossroads counties remain under a burn ban. Those are Lavaca, DeWitt, and Goliad counties. Outdoor burning is not allowed in those areas. In counties without a burn ban, anyone planning to burn should contact the proper authorities before doing so. Monday's monthly jobs report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics is the first since President Donald Trump fired the former BLS chief. He accuses her without evidence of worsening the previous job numbers for political reasons. Now it's still unclear if he'll accept future BLS reports if he doesn't like what they show. The commissioner's termination puts a spotlight on the Bureau's credibility. Whether it hurts or helps it is a matter of debate. A major development in the fight against drug traffickers. The Trump administration is designating 2 gangs in Ecuador as foreign terrorist groups. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has the details.
This morning, in what U.S. officials call a highly provocative move, the Pentagon says 2 Venezuela military planes flew near a U.S. Navy ship. It appears to be a show of force days after the U.S. military attacked this boat in the southern Caribbean, allegedly carrying drugs from Venezuela, killing 11 people. The Pentagon last night claiming the Venezuelan flights were designed to interfere with our counter-narco-terror operations.
It's a war on killers. It's a war on terrorists.
Just yesterday, Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Ecuador expanded the administration's crackdown on drugs flowing out of Latin America, designating 2 Ecuadorian gangs as foreign terrorist organizations and vowing to carry out more attacks on drug cartels. ABC's Matt Rivers recently traveled to Ecuador.
It might not look like it, but this river is a superhighway for cocaine. Hundreds of tons of that product coming through these waters every single year, bound for Europe and the United States. And as a result, that city right there, Guayaquil, Ecuador, is at war. Rival drug gangs fighting between themselves and the government, vying for supremacy in what has become one of the most important hubs in the global cocaine trade.
The U.S. Navy recently deploying 8 ships to the Caribbean and Pacific. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth comparing the drug cartels to al-Qaeda.
A foreign terrorist organization poisoning your people with drugs coming from a drug cartel is no different than al-Qaeda, and they'll be treated as such.
Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
President Trump is planning to sign an executive order today rebranding the Department of Defense. The president's directive will add Department of War as the secondary title of the Defense Department. While the order won't actually rename the Defense Department, it will authorize Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to use secondary titles like Secretary of War and Department of War in official correspondence and public communications. Officially changing the department's name would require congressional approval. A Victoria teen sustained minor injuries after surviving a single vehicle rollover crash Thursday night. At around 10:25 p.m., the wreck was reported in the 2700 block of Houston Highway. The 15-year-old was driving without a license or permit. He was leaving the parking lot of a fast food restaurant when he lost control and hit the median with the vehicle. Victoria police say as a precaution, the teen was transported to a local medical center and was also issued a couple of tickets. Remember, follow us on YouTube, Crossroads Today, hit the like button and click that notification bell. The time now, let's get a look up here. It is 6:38 on our Friday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up next on 25 News Now Sunrise. September is Hunger Action Month. Learn how you can take part in the fight against hunger.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is under fire over his handling of the nation's vaccine policy. I'm Nicole D'Antonio in Washington with the details and reaction from leaders in both parties.
And also coming up next after the break in the short-term forecast, you heard me say it's going to be another kind of hot day today. So coming up next, I'll tell you how hot I think it'll be near you, and we'll look at your football forecast. Well, good morning, Crossroads, and happy Football Friday. It's weekend time. Y'all get excited for the weekend because we still have rain and a cool front in the forecast. Cool front. It's only going to knock our temperatures down a little bit. But before any of that fun stuff gets here, we got to deal with one more kind of hot and kind of sunny day. Because looking at your future tracker, you're going to see just that. I'm thinking in the morning time and also the late afternoon, we're going to be looking mostly sunny with a few passing clouds. But by noon and for most of the early and mid-afternoon, we're going to be looking real sunny. So make sure you got your sunglasses packed for today. But like I said, going into the later afternoon and the evening time, we'll pick up our cloud cover to mostly sunny and also partly cloudy by later this evening and overnight tonight. And that'll keep our lows nice and warm in the mid-70s tonight. But the beaming Texas sun, it's going to heat us up quickly. We're looking at 9 a.m. in the morning. Most of us in the low 80s. Noontime, most of us in the low 90s. Western counties, maybe mid-90s. But in the afternoon, I'm thinking a high of about 98 here at Victoria, which is about 5 degrees above where we're supposed to be and about 13 degrees below our record, 111. Wow. But for everyone else, we're looking for about 100 in Yorktown, 102 in Kennedy, 101 Nixon, 99 Cuero, and 97 today in Port Lavaca, which is kind of hot. But the good news is by the time football game starts, game of the week is going to be Victoria West versus Victoria East. It'll be not too bad. We're looking 90 degrees by kickoff time and maybe 83, 84 by the end of the game with gusts up to 15 at times. But that's not all. We got more good news. It's raining in the front in the forecast this weekend, and we'll look at that next.
All right, Crossroads. Last night, the Refugio Bobcats, they battled the London Pirates out in the Corpus area. And both of these teams heading into this game were going in kind of both wins. Refugio got a win there against Cotulla last week, and London got a big win over Bishop. And good start here for Refugio. How about Ray Lewis punching it into the end zone, a QB keeper? It would be 7-0 early there for the Refugio Bobcats. But then the next drive, Xander Wills last week had 4 touchdowns, 169 yards versus Cotulla. Well, he does it again, just taking it all the way to the house there versus London. And that they wouldn't get the extra point. It would be no good, and they would have the 13-0 lead in there. Coach Smith there for London was trying to find a way to get a response there for London. Guess what? Their quarterback there, and Alex Manning, would and find Aiden Salinas for the touchdown. The Pirates, they would go for 2 but not get it. It would be the score there, 13-6. And again for London, they were trying to fight back in this game, but again, Refugio and Coach Cox, they just knew how to answer right back, because look at this quarterback keeper there from Ray Lewis as he again gets it all the way and then had only one man to beat there at number 4, and yes, he does. He takes it there to the house, and Refugio would be up 21-6, and they would not look back, with the final score in this one being 55-6 over the London Pirates. And again, Refugio, 2 50-point games. They had against Cotulla last week. They had it there against London. They are officially 2-0 now, going into that big-time clash with the Edna Cowboys at home. Be next Friday night. Could possibly be game of the week option for week 3. We'll keep you updated when that happens. This is Max Williams, 25 News Now Sports.
We want to invite y'all to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV through Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, Android TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. This morning, the Health and Human Services Secretary is under fire from lawmakers in both parties over his handling of the nation's vaccine policy. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio is in Washington with details.
This morning, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. under fire from both Democrats and Republicans over his controversial vaccine policies and the chaos at the CDC.
Robert Kennedy has elevated conspiracy theorists, crackpots, and grifters to make life or death decisions about the health care of the American people.
2 Republican senators, both doctors who voted to confirm Kennedy, also voicing concern.
I've grown deeply concerned. Americans don't know who to rely on.
I would say effectively we're denying people vaccine.
Senator Cantwell. You're wrong.
Kennedy, a longtime vaccine skeptic, was also repeatedly pressed on the COVID vaccine and the recent policy change.
Do you think the vaccine did anything to prevent additional deaths?
Again, I would like to see the data and talk about the data.
You have had this job for 8 months, and you don't know the data about whether the vaccine saved lives?
Another major topic, the firing of CDC Director Susan Menares, who Kennedy fired less than a month after her swearing in.
We are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at CDC. They did not do their job.
Dr. Menares writing in the Wall Street Journal that she was fired for refusing Kennedy's, quote, troubling directive that she rubber-stamped the unwritten recommendations of a vaccine advisory panel filled with people who have publicly expressed anti-vaccine rhetoric. The president of the American Academy of Pediatrics calling this conflicting information on vaccine guidance unprecedented.
So the undermining of all of the infrastructure and the science is making everybody uncertain. But still, the vast majority of Americans vaccinate their children on schedule. And what they deserve from us is clear recommendations and guidance.
After the hearing, those Republican senators refused to say whether they still have confidence in Secretary Kennedy. President Trump, who says he did not watch the hearing, is standing behind Kennedy. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
And that leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen to take part. We want to know, should RFK resign as the Health and Human Services Secretary? 21% of you say yes, and 79% of you say no. And we also have an additional comment. This is from Brandy of Victoria. We need the most qualified people to make your health decisions. Thank you for taking part in today's viewer poll. The Food Bank of the Golden Crescent is stepping up efforts to fight hunger right here in the Crossroads. CEO and President Robin Cadle says anyone can make a difference, whether it's hosting a food drive, making a donation, or simply volunteering your time. Cadle points out that while hunger is a nationwide issue, the reality is some of the people going without meals could be your very own neighbors.
Sometimes we think of hunger as in another land, but it's here in our own backyard. I feel blessed to get to do what I do on a daily basis.
Cadle invites the public to either stop by or tour the Food Bank of the Golden Crescent to volunteer or donate. And the time is now, let's take a look up here at our clock. It is 6:47 on our Friday morning. Still to come on Sunrise. A big night in town marks a fresh start for a local university and its community. All right, it's time to celebrate some birthdays. He was Beetlejuice, he was Batman, and today he's the birthday boy. Michael Keaton is turning 74.
Ooh, happy birthday, Michael Keaton. And also happy birthday to Rose McGowan. The Charmed actress is 52 today. Happy birthday, Rose. And to see your birthday wish live on 25 News Now Sunrise, you can come to crossroadstoday.com. Just click the drop-down menu, then click the Home tab, and then you'll see Submit Your Birthday Photo.
I want to wish Emmett and Justin a very happy birthday.
Happy birthday, y'all.
I hope y'all have a great time celebrating. If you're celebrating a birthday this weekend, happy birthday as well.
That's right. Happy birthday. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, good morning, Crossroads. I'm sure a lot of y'all saw the 7-day forecast just a few moments ago, and you saw in the short term, we're still a little bit hot for the next 48 hours. Highs taking in the mid and upper 90s, some in the low 100s today, so stay safe. Otherwise, if you don't like that, you probably saw the good news that's still in the forecast. It's rain and a cool front, and I say cool front because it's not a cold front. You can see temperatures only dropping to the low 90s just for a few days, because late next week we're right back in the upper 90s and maybe even low 100s. But all the rain that's coming this weekend, it's coming from the tropics, and you might suspect it's coming from the Atlantic. Wrong, it's coming from the Pacific. We still have a tropical wave out there in the Atlantic right now, I should say, with good chance of development over the next few days into Tropical Storm Gabrielle. But if you look right here, the spaghetti models take it westward, a little bit more west than what we were originally thinking. Now the East Coast, not us, the East Coast may need to be watching that system real closely over the next week or so. But what we're going to be watching is the remnants of Lorena, which is right here. You can see it's no longer a system just west of the Baja Peninsula of Mexico. Hawaii will be watching Kiko, still a major hurricane category 3 right now. But if we zoom in on Lorena, you can see all of this tropical moisture, deep moisture, moving right over the Sierra Madre Mountains and Rocky Mountains into Texas. That's what's going to bring us our rain chances for 40% on Saturday and Monday and 60% on Sunday. You can see this computer model thinks it's going to be a bit of a rain out on Sunday, but there are some computers that think there's not going to be any rain at all. That's why I've got chances at 60% Sunday, with us getting probably an inch and a half of rain. And we'll look at all that and more later on Sunrise.
It was a night of unity and excitement at JAGFest, where students, alumni, and local leaders came together to celebrate tradition and the bright future of Texas A&M University Victoria. 25 News Now Weekend anchor Amaya Norman has the story.
People packed De Leon Plaza Thursday evening for the first JAGFest. The celebration brought students, families, alumni, and community leaders together to enjoy live performances, food trucks, local vendors, and games for all ages. Speakers at the event called it an accomplishment for the entire community, a chance to celebrate unity and tradition while looking ahead to the future.
You know, what today's all about is opportunity. You know, we're turning the page with our university. We're moving forward. An opportunity not only for the university, but also for the city. So just couldn't be more excited about being here.
JAGFest comes just days after the official transition of the University of Houston Victoria into the Texas A&M University system. On September 1st, the campus officially became Texas A&M University Victoria, with new logos and brandings to match. While some students and alumni say they will miss the UHV name, many are excited about the opportunities.
So being in the middle of the transition, it was really exciting just because my first year was obviously being here as a UHV student. That itself was amazing, but going into the transition, I feel like it's bringing a lot of more opportunities for students and the community, and I think that it's really just super exciting for all of us.
As someone that's grown up in Victoria, I think it's great to see the community come out together like this. I haven't seen this excitement in Victoria in a long time. I see local businesses putting our names out there, so it's really great to see that they care so much.
JAGFest organizers say the event will become a tradition that highlights school pride, community connections, and the bright future of Texas A&M University Victoria.
And still to come on Sunrise, news to know before you go. New documents raise questions about safety concerns at an elementary school just weeks before a tragic shooting. New records reveal troubling maintenance issues at Robb Elementary in Uvalde just weeks before the 2022 massacre. Maintenance logs obtained by news sources repeated complaints about the entry doors. Among the problems was the very door the gunman used to enter, a door staff warned wasn't closing properly before the tragedy. The Robb Elementary shooting is one of the deadliest in U.S. history. President Trump signed an executive order Thursday implementing a trade agreement with the U.S. and Japan for lower tariffs on Japanese auto imports and additional products. The agreement was formalized between the U.S. and Japan by President Trump and one of Japan's ministers after months of negotiations. The signing confirmed an agreement of $550 billion of Japanese investment into U.S. projects. A new study shows artificial sweeteners could contribute to cognitive decline. The study followed adults who consumed artificial sweeteners, with researchers finding that a higher intake was associated with declines in cognitive and verbal fluency, mostly seen in those under 60. The International Sweeteners Association, a lobbying group, urged caution in jumping to conclusions. And we want to invite y'all to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV. And now let's get a look at our sunrise with Parker. I hear it's beautiful.
That's right, Carolina. We do have a nice, pretty sunrise over us this morning. Look at all the colors out there right now, y'all. And if y'all headed out the door to go see that sunrise or go run your early Friday morning errands, we're starting out the day like we always do. 75 degrees, warm and humid with the dew point only a degree off. Don't worry about fog. We don't have any of that out there this morning with a little bit of mixing in our atmosphere. But if we look out west on satellite, we have plenty of clouds coming our way for tomorrow, Sunday and Monday. Same with rain chances with all that moisture streaming off of the remnants of Lorena. But before that gets here, we got one more hot day to deal with. So looking for 97, maybe 98 today in Port Lavaca. Underneath that, beaming Texas sun. Same thing in Victoria, maybe a degree warmer, 98, 99 today. Cuero, the same thing, 99, maybe even 100. So stay safe in the heat. Just one more day of it, maybe two, before the rain and the front get here this weekend.
All right, thank y'all for being with us this morning. Be sure to join Shauna, Dawn, McClovia, and Max today for 25 News Now at 5, 6, 10. Make it a great day.